Well, folks, we're back. We had some technical difficulties, which translates to this guy forgot to plug in the Mevo camera so it didn't die. But we got it going again. We're back. And just waiting to hear some more stories from John. And John. How about it, guys?
I love your guitar playing.
Yeah,
That kind of reconnecting with what we were talking about. You know that that transition that you're looking for between performing, right? Hopefully being admired, to it doesn't matter what you sing next. You know, there's a point in the show where like it really matters, and then there's just sing us a song. There's a woman who represented my Kennedy's Kitchen for a while. She said, very first thing you want to do with an audience is just establish trust, because they're with you, particularly if it's a show like here at the Wild Rose Moon. They're stuck here. And the very first thing they want to do is they want to feel safe. I didn't waste my time. I'm not going to be embarrassed. I'm not going to be wishing I wasn't here. So in the first 10, 12 minutes, all you want to establish is everybody, including us, musicians, maybe especially us, are glad we came. You know, you don't need a standing ovation in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All you want to do is get everybody, like, to that point where they feel safe. Because once you feel safe, then you can, then it doesn't matter what you sing.
Well, you mentioned that transition. At one moment, you're focused on impressing everybody and hoping everybody will like you and performing your best and showing off your stuff, and then in the other, which we defined a little less clearly in some ways, maybe that is appropriate, but you've let go of that and you're just doing your thing and you're just loving it.
In a sense, that's what the audience is really there for, is the hope that it's magic. You know, like I've always, I have a set list in case I need it, in case it's a day where I'm just struggling emotionally, but I don't really want it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unusual for me to have a set list, say, okay, the band will get down, and it's a big show, and we've worked really hard, and here's how we're going to start. And I'll get out on stage, and I'll turn to the band and say, we're not going to start with that song. It took them a good 15 years to accept the fact that that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's always better when I throw the set list away.
Yeah.
I need it. Certain plans or certain things that tend to work together as groups. But what you really want to do is invite people in to your kitchen. And when you know this, with your family, sitting around singing, there's a feeling there, right? You don't have a set list, right?
Right.
That's really, I think, what an audience, for me, that's what I want, right? I don't want to go to a show and know that it was the same show that they did last night.
Yeah, right.
That just doesn't interest me.
Well, that's like you were talking about why you go to a live show rather than to a recording. That's just making the live show more like the recording.
Right. Yeah. And there's a reason for that, and it has its place. It's just not something I'm particularly interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I like accidents, mistakes, things that go sideways.
Yeah.
Should watch me play.
When you mentioned that, I wanted to repeat it, that idea of that transition from one state of mind as a musician into another. I think that's part of why someone would ever want to be a musician, and why you would want to, year after year, why you want to keep doing music, you want to keep getting out there and playing.
Now, we were talking off camera, and I said, you got started because of your father, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in music.
Right.
See, I grew up singing, but it wasn't to perform. You just sang. And my first experience, like performing, was in the Peace Corps. It was a gathering of Peace Corps folks, and I was very, very lucky that the fellow Ron Tolan in the next town up was a songwriter. And so my very first song I wrote was Springtime in Indiana, which I have done here at the Moon a couple of times, and in Santa Cruz, Chile. And Ron Tolan kind of put the idea in my head, and next thing I got one. And he's the one who arranged the little gig. And the feeling of being in front of people singing, first it was terrifying. I mean, just absolutely terrifying. And then it was the best feeling I'd ever had.
Yeah.
I felt more alive than I'd ever felt. Now, some of that's my nature. I mean, I don't like going to shows, in part because my emotional nature is I don't get an intense emotional experience out of that. I guess I need the terror of being in front of people in order to kind of get into that space. So I came back from the Peace Corps, and I was a graduate student at Notre Dame, and found there was an open mic scene, so I found myself signing up for it. And again, that feeling of being in front of people and singing, and then the reaction. I mean, having people come and say, "I really enjoyed that," you know, that was amazing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that, I mean, I'm in my late 20s when I'm picking up instruments, and so I got a really late start.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk too much about me, but I started junior year in high school, and most of my early experience in music, performing wasn't. My dad was a musician and a performer, but there wasn't this expectation of like, all right, boys, we're going to train you up so you can be performers too.
Mm-hmm.
But singing is just a part of life.
Right.
To jump ship just a little bit here over to another one. I mentioned your songwriting. You've written a number of songs. You're in the middle of a project right now where you're going through some of your old material.
I recorded a solo CD in 1996, and told myself I was going to put out another one right away, and I began recording things, and then things went sideways, right, as life does. And I've been going back through those recordings, and that's some of the material that I'm singing here are things that hadn't been sung in a very long time, and just songs that, of course, on a personal level remain important to me, but it's also been really great to go back and listen to things that I recorded myself all those years ago, and to find that I'm really happy with the recordings. I'm happy with the performances. I'm happy with the guitar playing, and delighted with the fact that I actually recorded them well.
Yeah.
Like, wow, the guitar sounds great. The vocal sounds great. I mean, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting it. That was a very, very nice surprise. Very, very nice surprise. So like at least 3, maybe as many as 6 of the old recordings are going to end up on the new project. Like, I'm going to just take the old recordings, mix them, and they stand up. They sound beautiful. There's a couple of things. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do 2 versions of a couple of songs. Because I like the older version, and in a couple cases, there's songs that I've been singing since, and I've taken them in a completely different direction, and I really like both versions.
Yeah.
So, release both versions.
Yeah, in terms of being very happy with the stuff you did a long, long time ago, you thought maybe you weren't as far along as a performer, as a songwriter, as a guitar player, singer, whatever. But you go back to it and you find, wow, this is a lot more pleasant and a lot more enjoyable than I thought it would be.
How often is it pleasant as a singer to listen to your own recorded voice? Right? Almost never.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very difficult. I mean, if I've made a mistake, well, I've made a lot of them. I should have given those projects to somebody else and had them mix it, because all I was hearing at that time were mistakes,
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing it and going, I'm not hearing any mistakes. Yeah, all I'm hearing is the music.
Yeah. Right.
There's mistakes in there, but I'm not hearing them.
Yeah.
But it took me 25 years to distance. So, I mean, even now, I need to let somebody else have control of mixing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs that, except there exceptions being people like Prince.
Yeah.
Right. Prince could produce his own stuff. Most of us can't.
Right.
He could listen to it objectively without. That's what's hard about it. It's hard to look at it just as a song instead of the song I wrote.
Well, and when you hear your own voice, it's quite an experience to hear my own voice on a record and go, I really like that. Of course, it's not a record; it's digital recording in my house. But to hear that and go, wow, I love that. And it doesn't matter to me if anybody else does. Doesn't matter. What matters is I really love this song, and I want to present it as a piece of work, and wherever it goes, it's fine.
Well, again, to tie it to what you said earlier in the program, maybe some of what you're hearing now that is also maybe why it's not pleasant to hear in the moment is that vulnerability.
Yep. That sense of judgment and self-judgment. In the middle of singing, right? You're in front of an audience, or you don't have to have an audience. You just turn on a microphone, and all of a sudden everything changes in terms of your feeling about yourself and yourself. All of a sudden there's this judgment clicks on. Am I too close to the microphone? Am I using the wrong kind of microphone? Do I need to change my guitar strings? All of a sudden there's 1,000 ideas that come into your head instead of just singing, which is why it's really difficult to get a fresh, raw performance. I watched a video on YouTube of some guy's famous producer of songs and voices, and the one thing that stayed with me was that he says he really likes imperfection in a vocal performance. He said perfection is completely uninteresting. It's hard to hear imperfection in your own voice and go, that's awesome.
Yeah, right. Well, there's all sorts of little things that you have, mannerisms or whatever, and you might do something, and when you notice yourself doing it, you think, oh, this is annoying. I don't like that I do this.
And as soon as
other people see it, and it's like, oh, that's so endearing.
And as soon as you're thinking, you're not singing.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you're thinking, you're not singing. That's the challenge. The challenge is to just sing like a bird. Just have to be pure joy, to have your voice be free enough that the song's not going to come out the same way every time because it feels different today. And that only works if your voice is ready, if you're rehearsing enough that the instrument's in good enough shape.
Yeah.
Singing's so funny. I heard who's the I had his name right there. The folk singer, the wild man, the marijuana guy, folk singer, country guy, Willie Nelson. I saw Willie Nelson singing for Ray Charles's funeral. And Willie's voice was gone. He had no voice at all. And he's singing Georgia, right, which he wrote and Ray turned into a hit. And it was gorgeous. He could barely sing. He had nothing in his voice, and it was gorgeous. When my voice isn't there on a given night, I remind myself that singing ultimately, it's not opera. It's not about hitting the note. it's different. It's something ineffable. It's what Willie Nelson was doing that day when he did not have an instrument to work with. And it was still absolutely just gorgeous.
If you don't mind me trying to make a fool of you.
Please. I can do that myself.
I was just going to say Georgia was a Hoagie Carmichael tune.
Oh, I didn't know
Willie
that.
Nelson was a lover of Hoagie Carmichael's music, and
Very
he
good.
recorded it as well. But in a lot of his, especially something like Crazy, then there's a lot of that Hoagie Carmichael flavor in there, which Crazy is one that Willie Nelson
That
did,
Willie
right?
Nelson wrote. Got it.
But I wanted to take the opportunity to stop thinking for a minute and return to some singing.
All right.
So if you got another tune for us, I'd love to hear it.
Well, in that vein, I'm going to do a song I'm not entirely comfortable with. So we'll just.
Oh, well, that's the theme of the day.
Yeah, this is one that was in the archive. It's called "Do You Believe." So this one I hadn't sung really in going on 20 years. I handed him a dollar bill, he pulled a bus, and God we will. He smiled, shook his head, and said, in the end, we'd all be dead. And he talked about his life, the kids, the house, the lovely wife he used to have before he fell out on the streets and into hell. Words, they sent me back a bit, altogether unexpected, like a trip to Babylon when all your friends long since gone. My world began to spin around, my carnival had come to town. My little boundaries, gates, and fences disappeared, all my senses. Standing at that chasm rim, I wondered what became of him. That flowing hair, that perfect face, had that kind of special grace. I reached down to shake his hand, but he did not seem to understand. Then the band began to play, we sang that old refrain. Do you believe? Do you believe that it matters? Does the universe revolve around you? Your pain, your joys, your hopes, your also messed up childhood. How does it feel to be the center of your own attention? Can you stop these dreams you've been living in your head? Hey, now come on. It's time to start your living. It's time. Get it down and get it on. The road is all you'll ever know. He said, brother, can you sit a while? Have you got a moment? Have you got a little, just a little? Have you got the time? Can't you see? I am here and you are really here, and all that matters is this moment. Do you believe that the golden rule applies to you? Do you do to others as you'd have them do to you? Clowns began to gather round silently without a sound. Their eyes were blue and red and green, happy, sad, glad. The bearded lady sang a song, soft and sweet, and hours long she sang about the Middle Ages, peasants, paupers, kings, and pages, crimes against humanity, plain in view for all to see. The strong man signaled to the crowd, sing it loud, do you believe? Do you believe that it matters? Does the universe revolve around you? Your pain, your joys, your hopes, your also messed up childhood. How does it feel to be the center of your own attention? Can you stop these dreams you're living in your head? And now come on,
time to start your living. It's time to get it down and get it on. The road is all you'll ever know.
Whew.
Thank you very much, John. Thanks for all the music, for all the conversation. It really has been a pleasure. We are definitely blessed to have you as a part of the community and a guest on the program.
And thank you, John. And love your music, guitar playing, singing, and Ryan.
Yeah.
And of course, George Schricker and everybody here at the Wild Rose Moon. Just creating a space where people like John and myself and Ryan get to share our music and do what our heart requires us to do.
If I can mention, I know it's weird, I'm off camera, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for just a happenstance that John and I met at a benefit for Heminger House, and I was asked by Jane Fuentes to play, and I hadn't played out for a long time by myself, and I went and set up, and I didn't know who Kennedy's Kitchen was, how good you were, or anything. I went and set up and had my stuff sitting there ready to play, and then you guys came in, and they're like, well, I don't like where these speakers are, and what's this stuff, and could you move it? And I'm like, oh, geez, here we go, you know. And then I ended up playing over on the other side of the room, and while I was playing, these people I didn't know were standing there paying direct attention to me and had some very kind words when I was done playing. And then I heard them play, and realizing how incredibly talented they were and the compliments they gave me, it kind of blew me away. But it was just a special thing. And I talked to John, and he told me about the Moon, which is funny because I live here and I hadn't been here yet. And he's like, you got to go there. You'll check it out. You'll fit in really well. And it's been amazing. I'm so happy to be a part of it, and so glad we met.
It's a magic place.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Kennedy, for playing with us tonight and sharing your stories, your insights, and your music. Thank you, John Baylor, for being an exceptional host, not at all making a fool of yourself. Just happy to be here. The Moonlight series is brought to you with great assistance from the Gibson Insurance and the Gibson Foundation, Marshall County Community Foundation, the Marshall County Tourism. If you would like to help the Moon, you can go to the wildrosemoon.com and become a member. Help us out that way. You can spread the word about us. Share our videos. We'd really appreciate it. Behind the scenes, you have Howard Gibbs, Katie Smith, Jim Yoakum, and George Schricker, all a huge part of this. My name is Ryan Meir. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.